Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be recapping and talking about my key takeaways from How to Live on 24 Hours a Day by Arnold Bennett. I bought this book a while ago thinking that it was part of that whole world of 21st century like self-development and productivity, but it turns out this book was first published in 1910. For a minute I thought there wouldn't be anything relevant to me in here because it's so damn old, but I actually quite liked reading it partly because it sounds so different to anything else I've read, and a lot of the points actually still are relevant. As you can probably gather from the title, the book is about how to make the most of the limited time we're all given in a day. Bennett reckons most of us are pretty dissatisfied with how we live our lives, and that we all have things we want to do, kind of like Stephen Pressfield's Unlived Life. Bennett attacks the question of how to spend our 24 hours by describing a day in the life of an average person back in the day. Apparently, a Londoner in 1910 might work in an office from 10 to 6, spending 50 minutes going to work in the morning and 50 minutes going home in the evening. Bennett says that people insisted on thinking about their day as only the office hours in which they're working, when in actual fact there are at least 4 or 5 hours after your workday where you are in charge of your time and you can do whatever you want. His whole description of your average person's day is not super relevant to everyone anymore, given the current gig economy and how so many people, including me, are freelancers who are in charge of our own time for the most part. His point that you could be making better use of your time still stands though. Bennett suggests that you use some of this time to study, to read and think and develop yourself. He suggests limiting yourself to a particular period or topic, and he says that there's much pleasure to be derived from being a specialist. You could replace reading or study with whatever you want. Nowadays, this might look like finding the time to watch masterclass videos or doing Skillshare courses on topics that interest you like graphic design or, I don't know, video editing. When it comes to doing whatever it is you want to do, Bennett suggests starting really small. And a lot of what he says is actually quite similar to what Nick Winter says in The Motivation Hacker around success spirals. Although Bennett uses very pompous old school English from 1910. I earnestly advise a very humble beginning. A failure in an enterprise deliberately planned deals a desperate wound at one's self-respect. Hence I iterate and reiterate. Start quietly, unostentatiously. In other words, start small, because failing at stuff you set out to do demoralizes you. There's a passage I found really interesting in the book where Bennett describes newspapers. Newspapers are produced with rapidity, to be read with rapidity. There is no place in my daily program for newspapers. The idea of devoting to them 30 or 40 consecutive minutes of wonderful solitude is, to me, repugnant. This kind of feels to me like an accurate description of social media, like Instagram or TikTok. The stuff on there is produced really quickly and most of it holds no value, and yet we'll still find ourselves devoting hours and hours to just scrolling through our feeds. Another one of Bennett's points is that we waste so much time doing nothing when we're in this weird limbo, where we're not actively relaxing, but we're also not doing anything. You then devote quite 40 minutes to thinking about going to bed. I know I'm guilty of doing this, and it either results in less time sleeping, which is always shit, or a waste of time where I could have been doing something productive or purposefully chilling out. Anyway, there are heaps of little nuggets in this book, and those are just some of my highlights. Let me know if you've read this one and your thoughts on it. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you'd like, and I'll see you around.